A new Harris poll shows a gap between web users' perception of their ability to securely navigate the web and reality. Oh, I hope my dad was a part of this. A majority of people think that they know online safety and security, but when given a simple quiz, many did not know how to identify a secure URL. What the heck did I just say? Well, Google domain security expert Stephanie Ducheneau, she's here to join us to discuss strategies and tools available to make safer web practices. Great having you, Stephanie. How are you?
Great to be here. I'm excited to talk to your viewers about staying safe online.
This is good, and I hope I'm going to make my dad watch this when it's done. This is important stuff. I mean, when you want to stay secure when you're browsing the internet, you hear about all these hacks, and we always see our parents or our neighbor's phone is totally screwed up or their computer's totally screwed up because they're clicking on things they shouldn't be clicking on. How do we stay secure when we're browsing the net?
So there's two really basic tips for staying secure when we're browsing the internet. One is to always make sure that you're reading the full URL so that you're ending up on the website that you intended to visit and not somewhere that a bad actor was trying to trick you into visiting.
Yeah.
Bad actors might use really subtle and tricky strategies in order to just change one letter or alter or add an extra letter or change a 0 to an O so that you're actually being brought to a page that's completely different than the one you intended. You might also see a URL written out in text, but then the hyperlink, if you take care to hover over it, could actually be bringing you to a different website entirely. So as you navigate the web, make sure that you're reading the URL in your browser bar and hovering over links before you click on them so that you know that you're being safely brought to the page that you intended to visit.
This happened to be
Another thing to look for is, what, pardon?
I was going to say this happened to be very recently. I got an email from what I thought was my domain registrar saying, hey, we need your updated information. And it looked really official, but it turned out not to be.
Yeah, phishing attacks like that are becoming really, really common. So the same can go for email. If you see an email, you should be looking at the address that it's being sent from and following the same tricks, making sure that there's not just one letter that's been changed or not a name that looks like the domain name, but if you look at it, it's actually coming from a different party. So the same goes for when you're receiving emails, absolutely.
Absolutely. When it comes to encryption, what does encryption mean? Explain that.
So encryption makes sure that a connection is secure, preventing interception or alteration by third parties. You can think about it like the difference between sending a sensitive piece of information on a postcard versus on an envelope.
Yeah.
If you're sending it on a postcard, any third party who gets it in transit can see that secret message and could potentially even change it by crossing out or adding to the message, whereas if you're wrapping it in an envelope, you have an extra layer of security that makes sure that the message is going to get only to the party that you intended it to reach and isn't going to be changed while it's in transit.
Absolutely.
And you can look to make sure your connection to a website is encrypted by looking for the S as in HTTPS versus HTTP. And that's going to signify that you're visiting a website over a secure connection and not one that is vulnerable to snooping, especially because users today are so often accessing content over hotspots or other sort of mobile connections that might be less than secure.
Absolutely, no question. I was on a website recently and they were accepting credit card numbers and it was not a secure website. Wow, not a good idea. Really? Oh, go ahead.
This is really common. 94% of Americans are sharing personal information online, and yet our poll results showed that 42% of them didn't know the difference between HTTP and HTTPS. And it's fundamentally important when you're sharing credit card information, passwords, sensitive messages, that you know that difference and that you look to make sure that something is encrypted with HTTPS before you enter and submit that personal data.
And props to modern browsers like Chrome. You guys are kind of shouting at end users saying, hey, look, this could be a scam, watch out. And that's been very helpful, even for me, and I'm a nerd. Stephanie, we appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. If you want to learn more about safer web practices, you got to visit the website on your screen. And notice that there's an S there, https://safe.page. Go check it out, Dad. Google is a proud sponsor of the Morning Blend.